Hi, and welcome to today's Brown Bag Business Boost. I'm your host, Yolanda Churchwell, the CEO's fractional COO. Today, we're going to talk about how you can escape the CEO hustle and start leading like a visionary. We're going to talk about the three game-changing shifts that every CEO needs to make in order to be able to do just that. But before we do that, let me tell you about good problems. I know you've heard of good trouble, but let me tell you about good problems. As a CEO, things are going to come up. And the good thing is that when you have the right processes and systems in place, it doesn't put you into a conundrum. You easily know what your next step is going to be. You ask, Yolanda, what are you talking about today? Well, listen, I just want to be completely upfront and let you know that today's Brown Bag Business Boost is pre recorded. Why? Because I mixed up my calendar. I have a doctor's appointment at the same time that I would normally do the Brown Bag Business Boost. But rather than changing my schedule, which means you all change your schedule or moving it around, it's just as easy for me to use today's technology to be able to make sure that those of you who had already put it on your camera will be on your calendar will be able to get the message. Okay. So whether you're catching it live or on replay, say hello in the chat. As my granddaddy say, I didn't sleep with you last night, so just let's greet one another, okay? So I just wanted to be completely forthcoming and just let you know that I am not here live, but I will be checking all of the comments and stuff. It just so happened to be one of those doctor's appointments that you have once a year and you can't really move it around. So grateful to be able to do both things at one time. And I think that you're really going to enjoy what we have in store for today. Remember, if you've been here before, you know me. So you know that when I look down, it's because I'm looking at my notes, because my goal is to make sure that we stay on time. I can tell stories, I can show, I get high off of what I do, but I want to make sure that this fits into your lunchtime spot. Okay. So let's jump right in. All right. So, as I stated, today's Brown Bag Business Boost is all about how you can escape the CEO hustle. Okay, we're going to dive deep into the mindset shift because this is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, we're going to dive deep into the mindset shifts that you need to make in order to grow and scale your business to new heights. Okay, we want you to be able to shift from hustling to leading with purpose. Is that making sense? All right. So, if you're watching this, chances are you at some point have been feeling overwhelmed. You felt overwhelmed, or you felt buried in the day to day task, or even stuck in the weeds of your business, if you will. But what if I told you that the key to scaling is not doing more, but actually doing less? It's doing less of the things that don't serve you, it's doing less of the things that don't produce revenue. Okay. And it's focusing on the right things. It's focusing on the long term. It's focusing on the strategic aspects of your business rather than the day to day operations. Okay. And so that's what we're going to explore today. So, purpose driven leadership is key. You hear now all types of things, but one of the buzzwords right now is purpose. What is your purpose? Are you purpose driven? Are you leading with purpose? Are you following? Do you know your purpose? Okay, so all that simply means is that God has given all of us a gift. Okay. And that gift is what we use to bring glory to his kingdom. That's how we do his part, do our part in this big scheme of the world that he has created. So purpose just means that you are using your gift in order to do what he has called you to do. Okay. We all cool? All right. Drop purpose in the chat if you got that. All right. Okay, so in the comments, I'm sorry, I get mixed up. Is it chat? Is it comments? Y'all know me. I'm always somewhere. Okay, so let's start with the foundation. Okay. As CEOs, we also often get caught up in hustle mode, grind mode. When you start out your business, you most often are a one woman, one man show. Okay. And so you're doing all of the things. And there's nothing wrong with that. Oftentimes, not only are you a one man, one woman show for your business, but you're juggling that with a 9 to 5. You're juggling it with a mate. You're juggling it with being a parent. You're juggling it with being a child. There's so many different pieces that we put together. The problem is that as your business continues to grow, and you are doing all of the things. You are handling every detail. You're answering every email. You're starting to hire people. You may be micromanaging every process. At some point, you're going to hit a wall. Okay. One of two things going to happen. You're going to hit a wall and you're going to burn out. And a lot of times, CEOs cannot bounce back from burnout. Okay. The other thing is that you will feel before you get to burnout, that second thing is you feel this tug of war. The tug of war is between what it is that you do for your clients and all of the things, the business of doing business, all the things behind the scene. Okay, so as your business grows, when you first start out, yes, you can handle all of the things, but then you feel this tug of war. That's where you know that it's time to make some new changes. Remember what I always say, growth requires new solutions. This is where you're going to need to build a team. This is where you're going to need to make sure you have your processes in place. This is where you get to bring my Biz Besties automate and delegate into your business. Okay. And so leading your business does not have to feel like burnout. It does not have to feel like hustle mode. It definitely is not supposed to feel like struggle mode. Okay. So the key to building a long-term, sustainable, scalable business is to lead with purpose. Okay. It means that you stay focused on what it is, that gift that's inside of you. That's what your focus is on. Your focus is on what does that look like in the short term? What does that look like in the long term? And you bring people on to run the day to day, to do the different things within your business. You put systems in place to automate. You make sure you have your processes so you know how everything is supposed to go. You know how you do what you do. Okay. So again, leading with purpose means using that gift that has been placed inside of you, and it is aligning your business vision with your personal values, and then making strategic decisions that will propel your business forward. Just that plain, just that simple. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Leading with purpose means that you are leaning into that gift that is within you so that you can align your business vision with your personal values. You're going to create a harmony between being a CEO and your everyday life. I like to use the word harmony versus balance because there really is no such thing as balance. But when you create a harmony, it becomes a song. And sometimes one voice is a little bit higher than another, but you figure out what works and you do it in that moment. Okay. And this is what's going to propel your business and move it forward. So if you got that, drop vision in the comments. Okay. All right. Thanks. So at the end of the day, bottom line, it's not about you doing all by yourself. It's about leading with clarity. It's about delegating effectively. And it's about empowering your team to take on the operational tasks that are holding you back. Because once you get to that point where you're in a tug of war, what will happen is you start to stifle your growth if you don't start to make some changes. So we want to make sure that you're making those changes and you're putting the things in place so that you can continue to grow. When you think about it in the term of flowers and plants, because we're really heavy in the April showers, bring May flowers right now, and all of the blooms and those things, it's the way that you prune your plants. You pull the weeds, you go out and you water them, you talk to them. It's those things so that they can continue to grow and flourish. That's the same thing that we do with CEOs. Okay, it's the very exact same thing. So we cultivate so that we are able to grow. All right. So let's talk about these mindset shifts. The first mindset shift as a CEO that you need to make is it's about delegation. A lot of people think, okay, I'm ready to delegate. But at the end of the day, it's a mindset that comes with that because a lot of CEOs find themselves in a place where they either don't let go, they're still trying to do the task, which means that the person that you hired feels like they're not able to do what you hired them to do. Or if you're me, in worst case scenario, because to me, the worst thing is being micromanaged. I used to hate when I had bosses that were micromanagers. Tell me what you want me to do, tell me how you want it done, and then go over there and leave me alone. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to give you more than what you ask for, and I'm going to do it quicker than what you wanted, as long as you're not standing up over me. And so those are the two gaps, those are the two strongholds that a lot of CEOs they have a hold of them. It's either doing the task, getting in the way of the people that you hired, or micromanaging them while they're trying to do it. Okay, so you're still stuck in the weeds. You got to break free. So you don't need to be worried about checking off every small task. You need to be focused on running your business, not working in it or working for it, but you need to be running your business. So what you will find is that you've gone from working in it to now you want to be working for it, and you're in that messy middle. You want to keep pushing through because you need to get to the point where you are running your business, you are leading your business. You're not working in it, nor are you working for it. So what does that mean to run your business or to lead your team and move with clarity and purpose? It means that you have to take a step back and you have to be able to see the big picture. You can't see the big picture if you're standing wall to wall with everything that's going on. You can't see the big picture when you're on the ground. As you know, many times I have said, this is like climbing up a mountain. Once you get up to the top of the mountain, you can clearly see everything a lot better than when you were standing on the ground thousands of feet lower. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to get yourself in a position where you're not in the weeds of things. You're not amongst everything that's going on. You're not working for your business, but you're in a place where you can actually see very clearly and be able to run the business and lead the business. You cannot create vision when you can't see. You cannot create vision when you can't see. Okay. And once you're clear on where you're going, it's going to become a lot easier to delegate because you're able to say, think about a GPS. The GPS says when you get up here, you're going to go up 200 feet and turn to the left. In a quarter of a mile, you're going to turn to the right. It's because it knows where you're trying to get to. It can tell you where you're going, how to get there when it knows the final destination, when it knows the goal. As a CEO, when you know your goal, your next step, where your next achievable goal, then you know how to map out how to get there, and you're able to tell people how to get there, and you're able to assist them or direct them in the way that they need to go. Does that make sense? All right, good. So when you're clear on where you're going, delegation becomes so much easier. Your team will be aligned to the mission. They will be able to buy into it, believe it. They'll want it for you as well as they will have a personal stake in it, and they will do more to help you get to where you're going. And you'll be able to trust them to take over the day-to-day stuff so that you can again focus on the long-term strategic stuff. Micromanagement is no longer needed, and I believe it's never needed. And with that, you're going to get back your time and your energy. As a CEO, you get time and energy because you're no longer having to do all of the things. Does that make sense? All right. So again, the first mindset shift is all around delegation and being able to free yourself of feeling like you need to control things or that you need to do everything. And let me tell you a little secret. You've probably heard me say this before. When you start to trust other people to do things, don't expect them to do it exactly the same way that you do it. What you want is you want people to move with a spirit of excellence. Because sometimes you'll be surprised the way that they do it could actually bring you more benefit. But as long as you're trying to micromanage people, they're not going to feel free to be able to be them and let their gift shine. Okay? All right, cool beans. So then let's move into the second mindset shift. This is all about letting go, releasing limiting beliefs. The two biggest ways this shows up for CEOs is imposter syndrome and self-doubt. These are two of the biggest hurdles that you will face as a CEO. And in this day and age of social media, you have to be intentional about making sure that you're not comparing yourself to somebody else's highlight reel. Let's say that again. You have to be intentional to make sure that you're not comparing yourself to someone else's highlight reel. You have to make sure that you are running your race. You are in your lane. Years ago, there was a movie called Biker Boys. And one of the characters said that when he's racing, all he sees is what's in front of him. And they even showed it in the movie where they showed like all of this was fuzzy. There was no peripheral. All that he saw was where he was at and the straight path to the finish line. That's how you have to be in this day and age with all of the things that are going on in the world and with all of the things on social media. Make sure that you are laser focused on what it is that you are supposed to do. That's half of the battle right there that comes with overcoming imposter syndrome and self-doubt. Because a lot of that is rooted in comparison, and comparison is the stealer of joy. Okay, period, point blank. It will steal your joy. All right. And remember, that's somebody else's highlight reel. They're not putting the good, the bad, and the ugly. They're just most of the time reporting their wins. Okay. So, imposter syndrome, what does that look like? That shows up with that little voice, that self talk that says, who do you think you are that you can do this? You dream too big. You want too much. Are you sure you're good enough to do this? What if people don't think that I'm qualified? All of that, that's that imposter syndrome. That's them limiting beliefs. Don't believe that. And I challenge you, every time you feel like you're saying something negative like that to yourself, first of all, I want you to know that I don't want you talking to yourself like that because I love you and I don't want you to talk to yourself like that. I take offense to it. But secondly, anytime you catch yourself doing that, there was an exercise that I did with a coach I had years ago, and I still do it to this day, and I'm gonna share it with y'all here. Anytime I feel myself saying something negative to myself, I pause. I state that is not the truth. That is a lie. That is of the devil. And then I tell myself two positive things that counteract that. And if you're like me, the way that I learn the best is if I can write something down, then I remember it. And so I will often pull out my Post-its and I will write two very positive thoughts that negate that negative thought that creeped in my mind. And so then that is what is at the forefront of my mind. And that's what I'm saying to myself rather than saying something that is cruel or untrue. Okay, is that making sense? So I challenge you, use that today. All right. So you're not alone if when you have that happen. As I stated, it happens to me. It happens to all of us if we're being honest. But this is the thing. You did build that business. You are running that business. You are having certain levels of success. That's why you're even here today trying to figure out how do you get to the next level. You've had success and you have in you what it takes to lead because you're not giving up because you got to that point where you're having growing pains and you need to figure out how to get to the next level. You're here. You're asking, what are the 3 mindset shifts that I need to make? How do I escape the CEO hustle? How do I move to leading like a visionary? So that's half the battle right there is because you are seeking the solution. You are trying to figure out the right way to do it. So what you have to do is you have to shift your focus from handling everything, from being a chief everything officer to leading strategically, to being a visionary CEO. As a visionary CEO, you embrace leadership. Not only your ability to make decisions, make them quickly, sometimes to make them with limited information, but also your ability to inspire and guide others, your clients as well as your team. Okay? You are more than capable of leading your business. You are more than a conqueror. You are fearfully and wonderfully made in God's image. There is nothing that you cannot do. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. If you don't get anything else out of this today, make sure you get that. You can do all things, not some of the things, not a few of the things, but you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. When you learn how to lean into him, when you're weak, you will actually become stronger. Okay? And you don't need to do it all alone. You definitely don't need to do it all alone. And I had to say that 2 times because I have to say that to myself. Make sure that you are using these different systems that are available to you, that you are there are people who want to help you with your business. I've told you before, there is a lady in my village who reaches out to me and she's like, Yolanda, I want to help you with clerical duties. And I'm gonna start reaching out to her because we don't have to do this all by ourselves. We have to let go of the self-doubt. We have to trust ourselves. My prayer has been, Lord, I want to see me the way you see me. So that's your challenge for this mindset shift. Ask God to allow you to see you the way he sees you. Then imposter syndrome, self-doubt, limiting beliefs, they cannot run rampant in your mind. Okay? And once you do that, then you're going to be able to see the impact that it not only has on your personal well-being, but on how your business moves. Because remember, your business will never grow bigger than who you are as a person. But as you continue to grow stronger, as you continue to build your muscles, then your business is going to step into harvest seasons. All right? It's all about, again, overcoming limiting beliefs. All right, so that's the second mindset shift. The last one is that you have to get into a place where you start thinking like a visionary CEO. So your thoughts are not on, oh, I need to check email or how I'm going to respond to this email. Your thoughts are, this is the next income stream that I would like to build in my business. This is the next event that I want to have. This is the next book that I want to write. This is my visibility strategy for getting in front of more people. This is how I get to help more people versus, oh, I need to check my calendar. Oh, I need to read some emails. Oh, I need to work on Canva and create some images. Again, you always want to make sure you're focusing on your highest revenue generating task. And that comes by way of being a visionary thinker. Okay. So you want to create a strategic business plan. The word strategic within itself is the opposite of simple. It means that there's levels of this. It's short term, it's long term. It's if this don't work, then this will work. It's if then statements, it's conditions. It's knowing that you can do all of the things, but you have to know when to do them and how to do them. A lot of times what we will find as CEOs is it's not that you don't know how to think strategically, it's that you have so many thoughts that you go from implementing one thing to implementing another thing to implementing another thing, and you never bring anything to fruition. I have 3 clients right now, and all of them are so close to a harvest season. They've started some things, but every time they make ground on moving that thing to so that it's live, so that it's launched, so that it's working, they get another idea and they immediately jump ship and go work on that. Being a visionary CEO means that you say, you know what? I'm going to write that down and I'm going to work on that in the third quarter. I'm going to write that down and I'm going to work on that next year and then go back to what it was you were building. It means taking things to completion. It means that you're always looking ahead. Even when you're working on something right now, you're always looking ahead. But you know how to manage the looking ahead. Okay? You're able to see the bigger picture, and you know that within the bigger picture, you have to be able to put the smaller pictures, the closer pictures, the current pictures. You can't get to your future till you get through your present. And that's what's going to drive your business for long-term growth. So as a visionary leader, you are focused on what is going to drive your business forward. That means not only starting projects, but completing them. That means making sure that done is better than perfect, tweaking things after you get them into play so that you can make them better before you go to the next best thing or the next opportunity. Does that make a sense? All right. And the best way to do that is that you want to make sure that you have processes that will streamline what you do. So it's easier. You're doing it. The easiest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. You want to make sure that your line is as straight as possible. Do you have to twist and curve sometimes? Do you have to pivot? Absolutely. But you want to make sure that when you do it, it's necessary. It's not just because you were not prepared. You want to make sure that you are building and implementing the systems that are going to support your processes. And you want to make sure that you are embracing automation. We talked about delegation, but you also want to make sure you're embracing automation. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go out and hire someone all the time, but you do have to make sure that you have a system in place that you're able to automate things so that you're not having to do it over and over, but that it is done for you with the push of a button. Fix it and forget it. Okay? Remember, the goal is to run your business, not work in it, not work for it, not work on it, but to run your business, to lead it. Okay? So, as always, those are your 3 mindset shifts. So, first, you want to make sure that you are delegating. You want to get out of the micromanaging, get out of the weeds. Then you want to make sure that you are letting go of any limiting beliefs. You want to overcome imposter syndrome and self-doubt. And lastly, you want to make sure that you are thinking and acting like a visionary and you're managing those visions that you have for your business. So my actionable strategy, I always give you something that you can take right now and put into action, is that I want you to use the 80-20 rule. We've all heard about it from the movies and stuff, but use the 80-20 rule as a visionary leader, as the CEO of your business. 80% of your time should be spent focusing on high value strategic activities like long-term planning, big picture thinking, and leadership development, versus spending only 20% of your time on the day-to-day operations. You want to make sure you're delegating. You want to make sure you're empowering your team. And you want to make sure that you allow the systems and processes to run your business instead of you manually being in there on a hamster wheel, or as I like to call it, a hustle wheel. Okay? So right now, you're probably not at that place, but the goal is to get to 80%. So the first thing that you're going to do today is that you're going to say, that is my goal. Write the vision and make it plain. Write it down that you want to have an 80-20 visionary leadership role. And then start to look at small tasks that you can step away from, that you can delegate to someone else, that you can automate to a system. It all starts with a single step. This is how you're going to be able to tap into that visionary that is within you. And if you've been to any of my webinars, you know that I show you the picture. You're chief everything officer. You're doing all of the things in your business. And then you climb up the mountain a little bit and you start to be able to figure out how you do what you do. So you get your SOPs in place, and then you keep going a little bit further and you put the systems in place, because those make it easier to do how you do. They support your SOPs. And then you go up a little bit higher, and now you're able to start seeing strategically. You're able to start stepping into that visionary. You're moving to the top of the mountain. So again, you're not in the weeds, you're not on the ground, you're on the top of the mountain. And at the top of that mountain is where you look down and you literally can see rivers of opportunity and streams of income. It's a lot easier to see them when you're up above than when you're standing there amongst it. And that's how you miss them, is when you don't step out of the weeds, when you don't step into your visionary. So what I want you to remember for today is that visionary CEOs don't do it all. We don't do it all. We're not afraid to ask for help. We lead with purpose and clarity. We know how to delegate and we know how to automate. Those are my biz besties, delegation and automation. We will outsource, we will contract, we will team build, And that way we're able to focus on our highest revenue generating tasks. We're able to focus on what matters most in our business. And if you are at that place, the messy middle where you've had some success and you're looking to go to new heights, 9 times out of 10, the two things that you need to focus on the most are sales and client delivery. Anything else, so if you have any doubt, anything else is outside of what you should be focused on. That is when you're only focused on those things, then you're able to have the time to step into that visionary and to be able to strategically plan for your business to take it to new levels. You can't plan for the future when you're so busy trying to make sure that you can get through the day. So if you're ready to transition from CEO hustle mode to visionary leadership, then I challenge you today to go and take my quiz. What type of CEO are you? You will be so surprised. I have had people take this quiz. This one lady said, I didn't even know that I was at burnout. I thought burnout looked like something else. But once she was able to identify burnout, then she was able to take the steps to get back in a place where she was on the road to becoming a visionary CEO. So I'm giving you the option today. I'm asking you today. I'm challenging you today. I'm inviting you today to take the What Type of CEO quiz are you? It's at www.thevisionaryceo.com. You know, I try to make things easy for you. I'll make sure to drop it in the chat, but it's www.thevisionaryceo. Take the quiz today. Not only are you going to find out what type of CEO are you, but you're going to find out how you need to move forward so that you can get on the path to becoming a visionary CEO. So I thank you guys for showing up and being here today. I promise you, I'm going to come back and watch it myself. I'm going to make sure that I respond to everybody's comments. And again, when you can see ahead and things come up, you don't have to stress. You don't have to worry. You could still deliver. Step into the visionary that is within you and have a great day. See you soon. Bye.